In this tutorial, we're going to talk about the benefits of using the Fusion 360 integration plugin and how it improves your overall workflow. This is the sample model that you can find in Fusion 360, and it has materials applied to it. Under the SimLab Composer plugin section, click on Link with SimLab Composer. This will create a dynamic link between Fusion 360 and SimLab Composer, where any changes you apply to the model in Fusion 360 will be updated in SimLab Composer, offering you a way to modify the materials and prepare it to render in SimLab Composer while maintaining the ability to modify the model in Fusion 360 simultaneously. SimLab Composer has applied the default materials to your model and kept the color values and the texture maps as it was applied in Fusion 360. Press F4 on your keyboard to start the real-time rendering. Click on the lampshade and change the material type from default to glass. Go to the Material tab in SimLab Composer to access the Materials library. Drag any material from the library and drop it on an object to apply the new material to all the objects sharing the old material. You can change the color or the attributes of the materials from the Material Attributes panel to the right, while the real-time rendering is still active. Go back to Fusion 360 and apply any modifications to the model. In this example, I will chamfer the edge of the lamp's arm. Once you're done with the modifications, click on Update. Once you go back to SimLab Composer, you will see a message box. This message box notifies the user that the model was updated in Fusion 360. The options you have are to save your SimLab file, ignore the changes that have been applied to the model, or update your SimLab Composer model to match the changes you have made in Fusion 360. One more option you have is to retain scene materials. Having the Retain Scene Materials options toggled on means that you need SimLab Composer to update only the changes in geometry and neglect importing the materials and textures from Fusion 360 unless they have been modified. Since we have made some changes to the materials in SimLab Composer and we need to keep the new materials, I will toggle this option on and click Update. It quickly updated your 3D area, and you can see that the modifications we applied to the lamp's arm in Fusion 360 are now applied to the scene in SimLab Composer. Go back to Fusion 360 and click Update. In SimLab Composer, turn the Retain Scene Materials option off and click Update. Press F4 on your keyboard to start the real-time rendering. And, as you can see, SimLab Composer has disposed of the materials that were applied to the model and reapplied the materials from Fusion 360 since the Retain Scene Materials option was turned off. SimLab Composer's Fusion 360 integration plugin is a simple yet a very powerful tool that allows you to easily handle your Fusion design and be able to dynamically produce great renders while still retaining the ability to modify and adjust your design. It creates a parallel workflow that improves your output and magnificently speeds up the design render process.